Welcome to Global Risk Community Chat. Today our guest is Rocio Luna. I'm very happy to have you here today, Rocio. Welcome.
Thank you, Eve. I'm very excited to be on your podcast. As I mentioned earlier, I've never done a podcast across the nation, so this is my first time, and I'm super excited and honored to be the first to be on your show and be my First Nation.
Yes, so exciting. Thank you so much for giving your time for our podcast and being our guest as well. So before we jump into our topic, can you shortly introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes. So my name's Rocio Luna, and am a commercial insurance broker located in the state of California in the United States. And I am a workers' compensation specialist, and I specialize in lowering down EMRs for contractors and staffing agencies to rock bottom. So before I jump into that, I just want to briefly explain what an EMR is. So in the United States, an EMR is your experience modification rate. And this rate pretty much determines the premium that you'll be paying. And contractors use this rate to also bid out the projects. So it's very important, especially in the state of California. This rate is very important to control because it's going to determine what premium you pay and if you get awarded the project.
Yes. Thank you so much for explaining. I think especially for people overseas or, not from the states, that might be, of course, some term they are not familiar with, even though I believe there are, like similar things they also have within their employment rules. So, will this be our topic for today, or will we be talking about some certain aspect of it, or?
Yes, so my topic is going to be like how to control and minimize your risk. And I will briefly touch on the EMR, but since I'm talking globally, it is really I'm gonna really focus on global terms and global aspects that anyone could use in any country where you are running projects, have employees, and what you could do to minimize your risk and to reduce your insurance costs.
Yes, sounds good. So then let's get into it. What would be some key things when it comes to this? What would be maybe some key things to reduce risk or things people should be generally paying attention to?
Yes. So I would say I always come down to the basics. And the number one basic thing across the nations is having SOPs in place. So what's an SOP? It's SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedures, and which in basic terms, it means having a checklist, step-by-step procedures on what to do. So having SOPs in place for everything, that includes what to do on the project, what to do when there's an injury, what to do how to properly manage your job, and having standard operating procedures for each employee. Because when you are running a business, it is very important to stay organized, and organization obviously leads to high efficiency. Because if we don't have, steps, rules, and procedures in place, it's very chaotic and nobody knows what to do when a problem happens.
Yes. So, could you maybe elaborate more on it if we could go more
Yes.
delve deep into it? Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to elaborate on having SOPs when an injury happens, because I think this can apply to anyone around the world. So it is very important that your employees know who to report to when an injury happens,
Mhm.
what and reporting the injury right away as well. Because one big mistake that I have seen is that employees and companies won't report an injury on time, and they'll let maybe a day or two go by, but by letting more than 48 hours going by. Now they're creating that what was, a little strain. Now it's going to be a big muscle impact because people need to, when anyone slips and falls, you need to direct that injury and make sure that employees receiving the treatment in time. So whether it's getting icing, a massage, or whatever the recommendation is, that's a lot better than letting 2 or 3 days pass by. And now, this employee is working with this injury and they're still lifting, they're still working, 8 hours, and that poor muscle hasn't had time to relax or get the treatment it deserves. So now this little injury, now we have a claim. So I definitely would say reporting injuries on time is very important. And second thing would be who to report this injury to.
Mhm.
So what happens is that especially when there's night crews or companies that work 24/7, someone gets injured, at 12 p.m. or I mean 12 a.m. or 1 a.m., they can't call their supervisor because they're sleeping. So they need to know who to report to or what steps they need to take. And I've noticed that this happens a lot, like I said, especially in the companies that have the night crew, um, the night shifts. They don't know who to respond to, or they take a while, like, oh, I forgot, you know, this is a backup manager, or this is a person that needs to be aware of the injury. So making sure that your employees know who to report. And then for the other one would be reporting that information over to your insurance company. So this happens a lot, especially in construction, that injuries are not reported on time to the insurance company because the insurance company still needs 24 hours or 48 hours to process the claim.
Mhm.
So let's say, a company has taken 7 days to report an injury. Now we're going to add an extra 48 hours from the insurance company because they need to process the claim, get an adjuster assigned, get all the paperwork in. And that usually takes 48 hours. But now we added that extra time, and there's a frustration between the employee, the employer, and the insurance company because they're saying, hey, well, I want to take this employee to the doctor, but I can't without a claim number. And the insurance company goes, well, I just got the claim, so I can't give you a claim number because I'm still in the process of it. So I've seen this, I still see this a lot, um, especially when I was a workers' compensation claims manager. That was always the issue. So that's why I made myself as the middle person to be able to translate and give that information over to the insurance company right away so we could have a claim number and have a doctor assigned for that employee.
Yes. Thank you so much for your sharing that. I think that's probably one, common pitfall or common, like mistake that you have probably seen over your experience in many, companies, many organizations or projects, let's say. So
Mhm.
are there any maybe actionable takeaway points that you can share maybe together with some real life examples, maybe some specific strategies to like have our audience also, like take maybe actionable steps, especially if they are in industries that is related to, this kind of
Yes.
claims of them.
So I definitely would say training. When you're gonna put a new standard operating procedure, it is very important that you tell your employees and you train them on it because everybody could write a checklist and pass it out and say, "Hey, these are the new uh, policies and procedures." But in reality, who actually reads it? People. When you get a paper, you just take it and you're like, "Okay, put it in the file or put it away." No one really takes the time to read it. So I would definitely say if you're putting a new standard operating procedure in place, talk about it with your employees and train them on it. Take 30 minutes to an hour, whatever time you need, and train them on it, and just don't do it once. If this is like a change, let's say for a company that they're having a lot of slip and falls. And if you really want to change it, you want to make sure that you get the training at least once a week. Talk about it. Like, hey, it's Friday before everybody leaves. We're just going to talk about, if someone falls, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. You quiz them. And then you could even do like a little prize, like if we have no slip and falls for the next 3 months, we're going to host a party and we're going to do a raffle. These are doing cultural things. So little things like that starts to incentivize people like, oh yeah, yeah, like let's make sure everybody's being safe. Let's do this because at the end of the day, employees really enjoy that. They really enjoy, getting together, especially when, it's really hard to get everybody together in a group. So when you're able to get everybody in a group setting and you're celebrating, saying, hey, we got, zero claims for the last 3 months. We're making progress. Good job, guys. Here's, we're doing a little raffle, gift cards, little small things like that really change the culture in the company.
Actually, very interesting that, you take it also from a perspective of culture and not just training, or not from, of course, it's training, but in a different way that embeds with, also like aligns with the, employees in a, nicer way, I guess, and they just don't see it as just basic training. So that's super nice to hear. And is there anything you like to add?
Yes. So I would like to add another point to this is looking and analyzing your risk. So as a company, you have to see where are your risk at. So are you driving a lot? Are you carrying stuff? Are you packaging? Are you cutting? And then seeing, okay, what is it that I need to ensure myself? And also take a step back from the company, and then also look at, do I have the right accountant? Do I have the right insurance person? Do I have the right lawyer? Because all these people are very key to your company, and they're the ones who see the little details, because they're not the ones in the daily activities, but they are the ones who see, okay, this is the amount of money we're having coming in. We made profits, we didn't make any profits, our insurance is too high. What are you doing about your insurance? That's one thing that accountants analyze. They're like, wait, you're making all this money, but then I'm seeing that your insurance is this much. Like, why is it this much? And then you into it, and then you see, oh well, you're having a lot of claims. And I would definitely say take a step back and try to look at bigger picture, as well as how your company is fluctuating, and then see what changes you need to make, and then also see what risk you have open, because sometimes you see that, okay, you know what, I don't have this proper insurance. So here in California, you need insurance for your property, you need insurance for your auto, you need insurance basically for everything. And if you notice that you have a gap or don't have the correct limits, then you're looking at a potential risk, because God forbid you have a claim, then your policy limits are going to be out, and now you're going to have to pay out of pocket.
Thank you so much for adding that as well. And with that being said, we have run out of time for our conversation for today. So I want to thank you so much once again, Rocio, for sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise. Also, like, I think in a very exemplifying way. So I hope that our audience that is tuning in has steps that they can already, like, think about, and if they are in the position, of course, start implementing on them. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, East. I appreciate you.
Likewise, have a great day.